Hello, community, and welcome back to another Keeping It Real with Dr. Nita podcast. I am your host, Dr. Nita Polite Wilson, C-Suite Trusted Advisor, Board Director, and Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging Strategy Consultant, helping members of the C-Suite and their teams reframe diversity conversations from difficult to different. Today, as we welcome the month of June, I'd like to take a moment to speak about Juneteenth, a date of profound significance in American history. On June 19, 1865, in Galveston, Texas, the last group of enslaved people in the United States were declared free 2.5 years after President Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation. This moment, which we celebrate as Juneteenth, symbolizes a new dawn of freedom. It's a time to reflect on the journey and resilience of Black Americans, a journey marked by both hardship and extraordinary strength. The celebration of Juneteenth is not just a remembrance of a historical event, but it's also a testament to the resilience and unwavering spirit of Black professionals throughout American history. This resilience is encapsulated beautifully by Maya Angelou, who once said, "You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. In fact, it may be necessary to encounter the defeats so you can know who you are, what you can rise from, and how you can still come out of it." Indeed, the polished and powerful presence of Black professionals in various fields, be it law, medicine, the arts, or technology, speaks volumes about their indomitable spirit. Despite the systemic barriers that have existed historically, these individuals have risen, shaped cultures, and defined eras. Their elegance under pressure is a beacon of what it means to be, not only to survive, but to thrive. As we transition from the celebration of Juneteenth to July 4th, our nation's Independence Day, it's crucial to consider what these commemorations mean for all Americans. July 4th, 1776, marks a celebration of freedom from colonial rule, yet this freedom was incomplete. It excluded many, particularly those who were enslaved. As the narrative of freedom and independence evolves, it becomes more inclusive with every generation as we strive to form a more perfect union. Celebrating Juneteenth with as much intentionality and enthusiasm as July 4th enriches the story of America. It reminds us that freedom is a continuous fight and that liberty and justice for all require acknowledgement of our past, along with action in our present and future. Frederick Douglass, in his famous speech, "What to the Slave is Fourth of July," highlighted the ironies in the celebration of freedom by those who were themselves enslaved. His words continue to challenge us to think about whose freedoms we celebrate and whose freedoms we're still fighting for. As we look forward, let us embrace both Juneteenth and July 4th, not as separate pillars of freedom, but as complementary reflections of our ongoing American journey, one that values all narratives and respects every citizen's rights. Let these celebrations be a call to action to continue advocating for equity, to continue learning from our history, and to continue building a nation that truly upholds the dignity of every American. As we gather with family and friends, let us remember the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who said, "We are not makers of history, we are made by history." Let us be mindful of our past, responsible for our present, and hopeful for our future. Let us celebrate Juneteenth this month and July 4th next month with a renewed commitment to unity, to understanding, and to the enduring pursuit of justice. This month on Real Conversations from the C-Suite, I'll be joined by a very special guest, Ms. Tish Norman, an adjunct professor of African American Studies at Kentucky State University, corporate trainer, conference speaker, and co-author of 7 leadership books. In our first conversation with Tish, we'll be talking about the legacy of education and awareness that has been foundational to her success in corporate America. Then we'll talk specifically about the significance of Juneteenth in American history and in the corporate space. Next, we'll explore possible connections to being polished and powerful Black professionals, and how it might relate to resiliency down through the years. Finally, in our last conversation with Tish, we'll focus on transitioning from celebrating Juneteenth to July 4th and what it means for all Americans. Trust me when I tell you, this is a series of real conversations from the C suite you don't want to miss. If you'd like to hear this podcast again or any of my previous podcasts, please visit my website at drnita.com and remember to spell out the word doctor. And on the landing page at the top, click the Keeping It Real podcast link. And while you're there, please check out my resources and services. And as always, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. Please join me by getting into the flow. Follow, like, and overshare with your network any podcast that helps you reframe diversity conversations from difficult to different. Until next time, this is Dr. Anita reminding you to stay blessed and keep it real.